everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Goose Chicks podcast. I'm Leslie Mack, producer and co-host. I'm joined by the illustrious entire Goose Chicks pod crew today. I'm so excited. Alexis Liebo's here, our co-host. What's going on, Lex?
What's up, y'all?
We've got our amazing twosome who are actually the focus of this show today, Chelsea and Hannah, who are fresh off their Scamp run, and we are so excited to get into their experience. How y'all doing today?
I'm good, just chilling.
I'm good. I feel very podcast official because my mic finally came in.
Actually, move a little closer to it now that you're mentioning it. Or move
Okay, maybe not.
So, hi, everyone. We're so excited to be here. And if you're seeing this on the socials, you'll note that we are now attempting to do our shows live. So we're excited to do that. Today's show, though, is all about Scamp Shenanigans. We are going to be talking with Hannah and Chelsea about their experience at Summer Camp Music Fest. Lex and I did not get to go, so they were living vicariously through them. And we're really excited about it. But before we jump into that, a couple of things. One, how about those Arabelo shows last week? And I know none of us got to go, but I was on the couch tour.
Oh.
What did y'all think? I mean, I was a little, I don't know. It was really something. What did y'all think? And standouts for you?
It was a great shows. The ending of the very last one, I was like, we're ending on this, no. And but it was so they just hit everything that what is the song that is going for my head right now, but
those shows are so long. I remember at the Osiris event, there was a question asked. I think RJ asked about set lists, and Peter was like, "Oh yeah, for Goose we put together X number." And then he said, "But for Arabelo, it's like 20 to 22 songs that they have to put on the set list, just because they're not doing 20-minute long jams during Arabelo, right? So it's like more numbers that they have to do, and so that was kind of interesting. Or I took that going into this weekend, and I was like, wow, they do a lot.
They do. They covered so many.
They also played Lead Up for the first time as Arabelo.
Arabelo Lead Up,
which I was real into that. I really like that song.
Yeah.
So that one's
Chelsea, our Empress guru. The things that we'll forget, exactly right then, and you're just so.
I was just listening to it before we got on.
And that I couldn't think of.
Mr. Action also first time played as Arabelo as well, so they did both of those songs for the first time. They had only done Patch at that Osiris event, so to me, technically, this is also the first time that they've officially as Arabelo played. Right as well, so they did the whole trio from well, I guess that's not the trio, but are they ever going to do Feel It Now?
Meg?
Ooh,
they did play Elmeg Night 2.
I thought so.
That was the end of it. Nikki messaged me. She's like, Arabelo played acoustic Elmeg.
And that's like where I love Elmeg anyway. And last year at Radio City Music Hall, when they played Elmeg, acoustically, and then they played it again acoustically this weekend. Y'all, my heart was just the happiest. If it could have been smiling, I think it was smiling. I mean, I know it was smiling because it just, that song, I love it. B, the acoustic version of it it just gets my heart. It just makes me very happy and just puts me in a very happy mood. And I think that has carried over through the week, and just listening to it over and over. They did an amazing job this weekend. And did y'all see what also happened? They had like a little private event.
Yeah. So why don't you talk about that, Lex? Because I don't know too much about it. I just saw some photos. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Hey, Mark. So I saw some well, actually I got a text message, and I didn't realize that I had been invited to it from Jen and Pablo. And so, I think, I'm not for sure, was it a Conscience Elias? Or I'm not for sure if it was, but they had a little gathering, and so many people went to it, and I'm pretty sure it was a what is it? a charitable event. And so, or one of the friends got at a farm. And so they had that event together. And then our wonderful Jen and Pablo, they were going to get married, and they were going to do this all event, and with all of us coming. And so, but everything worked out. Timing was perfect. And they were able to get married this weekend by Jeb. And I just that's just absolutely amazing. And then just connects the fans so much more, to the band, and just seeing all of them together, and just the smiles on their faces, and just the little videos that I got of, what was being played, and just the intimacy of it, and just
you could feel the love kind of radiating through the photos I saw. And congratulations to Pablo and Jennifer.
Yes.
It looked really beautiful. I had seen Jeb had shared that he got ordained online on Twitter. He's very prolific over there, by the way. Arabelos 87 is his handle, so you can check it out. He tweets a lot. So he had said that, and I had just replied from our account kind of like, oh, well, what's going to be the first Goose wedding? We've had engagements, like time to level up, like let's go. And then of course it was for this. So it was like really cool seeing the full moment. Let's see. Other Goose news we should probably share. One is that summer tour merch just went up today. You can pre-order it if you don't want to stay in line or worried about not getting the things you want. Some very cool stuff, cool shirts that I thought were very cool. Shout out to, actually, you should probably, yes, hold on. Maybe I can put it up on the screen. What did y'all think about the merch though? What was the stuff that stuck out for you?
That rainbow tank. Woo! Got that 70s vibe.
Mm-hmm. And while we're talking about merch, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna throw out in there that we have merch available also. And don't forget your summer dress this summer. And check it out, goosechickspod.com, and the merch, because when I was checking that out,
the merch. So they've got this summer tour shirt, which looks pretty cool. Everybody can see it. They also have, this is the one we've been talking about a lot, especially because this back of it has a lot of representations of songs. So we've been deciphering it in our group chat, like, oh, I see a whale, I'm a flea, mooncat, like all the stuff we've been looking at. Definitely very cool. Tie-dye, and that's in a collaboration with Humbles. There's a crew neck. These are the ones I'm most excited about. Is this
that's sick.
That's
Scamp tank top. It looks really, really cool. Just note, if you're pre-ordering, they will ship at the end of July, so just note that. And then they have this unisex one as well. And then for sure I want to get this hat just because I like the colors. They look really
good. That one is really nice.
Those colors remind me of you, like they're colors you wear.
I wear them all the time, so I'm excited for that. And well, it'll be interesting. I might have to wait till I change my hair next, because I don't know, it might clash with the current color.
Priorities. We got to get that right.
Always have to get that right.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to share that with folks. I thought there was one other thing. Oh yeah. We said this on our last show, but Goose released their Live at Radio City Music Hall shows on streaming, and also their first 12 times LP box set that they've done. So you guys can check that out on their store as well. Very exciting stuff. And tour starts next week, y'all. It's like countdown is on. Chelsea, you're going to be up first in Chicago. So you're excited about that show, excited to go. I mean, it's not far from home.
My gosh.
But like, great for you, I feel like.
It was, because I decided not to do Louisville and Columbus, which I was really looking forward to, but just logistically. But then they announced Chicago, so it felt like a perfect little show for me. So I'm excited, and to meet up with friends, and it's going to be a really good time.
Yep. So. And then the other announcement they made this week was that the summer tour will be streamed on Nugs for subscribers, free for subscribers. So definitely make sure you are subscribed. That includes starting with the Chicago show all the way through, I believe, SPAC. So it does not I don't think it includes Levitate, because I think that's not technically considered that, but Resonance, I believe, will be included.
Of course, not Levitate. I am just so I'm the one sad thing I will say for myself about Levitate is I am a huge fan of Stick Figure, and so excited for Levitate, to have two of my favorite bands together. And then, of course, Goose is playing the night at SPAC that Stick Figures
Stick
playing.
Figures is playing, and also Goose is opening for Tab on that festival. So I haven't seen them not in the like prime spot at a fest in a while. So I think it's going to be fun time. So yeah, be on the lookout for us there. I'll be working the crowd somehow. I'll probably have a microphone out, so I might stick one in your face and ask you a few questions. So if you see me, say hello. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into what we really came here to talk about, which is summer camp. Music festival. Just a few things that came out of summer camp you all can look for right now. Our most recent live episode that came out on Wednesday, Take the Ride to Scamp, features a bunch of amazing interviews that Chelsea did with folks at summer camp. It was really fun. So definitely take a listen to that. And then we have an interview for our Gonna Turn It Up Some series with Mr. Please that was conducted at summer camp, and that drops July 5th. So be on the lookout for both of those two content pieces in addition to this show and conversations, some more stuff that's going to be coming out. But first of all, let me ask y'all this, Chelsea and Hannah. How would you describe the overall atmosphere and energy of Scamp? Like, did it meet your expectations? Yeah, what was it like?
I thought it was really chill. Honestly, I was kind of thinking it was going to be huge and overwhelming and a lot of people, which it was, but it seemed really chill. Like a lot of people being their authentic selves. Like you could just feel everyone felt really comfortable. And I think it felt a little more chill than I expected, but everyone was really nice and it was good for me.
Yeah, I'll second that. Because, at festivals, especially when there's a lot of jam bands, people will talk about, like positive vibes and all that. But it's almost performative to a certain extent where it's like, of course, you're saying those things when Fish is playing or, Eggy's playing or Dead and Company, whoever. But that doesn't necessarily mean the vibes are actually good 100% of the time. And so I felt like vibes were on point and everyone was like out of their way to be generous, like it was such a crowded event, especially at certain sets. And people really were like, oh, I'm so sorry I bumped into you. I'm like, wow, this is a crowded festival. And people are stopping and pausing and saying, I'm sorry for bumping into you. Or, hey, hey, that porta potty sucks. Don't go in there, Oh, they're out of soap right now and hand sanitizer. Let me wait for you. Like stuff like that. You know what I mean? Where it was just really cool to see that level of helping strangers.
Yeah, like actual care and concern for each other, which is beautiful to hear. I love it.
That is beautiful.
Might be part of that whole Midwest vibe. So
Chelsea and I know about that.
Over.
Yeah,
that is Sandra. Hey, Grady. Thanks for joining us today. Yeah, so that's really cool to hear that it was really fun and, chill and people were being really kind to each other. That's really exciting to hear. I'm sure there was a little bit of like nostalgia too. Chelsea talked to one couple that's on the episode that just came out that they've been to all but 2 of all the summer camps. We've been going for 21 years. And so I could hear in their voices a little bit of like sadness, like knowing it won't be the same moving forward. And like, just great gratitude as well for all these years that they've been able to go and enjoy the space so much. And multiple people you talked to were like, no, this was my festival. Like this was the one they went to every year. So
that is very sad to see the people that this is their festival and to see it end. I was talking to a girl this morning and we were just like, well, at least we're getting to make it to the last and it be our first. So yeah, I'm so sad for the people that it is their favorite, their festival that they do. That's devastating when things like that happen. So maybe they'll work something out in the future.
And, my friend Carl, he's part of Trash Crew. He Resonance is his festival. He's been to every single year. Like he's literally skipping other events for Resonance coming up, and they're also not going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be their last day. I mean, they're not doing Resonance at all.
Yeah. So I feel like it's just like a transitionary period for the festival scene.
Yeah, I think, coming out of the pandemic, the numbers look really different around like what cost of goods are costing now and the, potential to make money. And then the liability piece just, I think, has gotten really high as well, just with like potable water to climate change, knowing that the weather is more extreme now. So doing anything of this scale outdoors, like there's such high potential for you one thing or another to just wipe it off the table. And it's just a high risk, I think, at this point. I was talking about, I've been to a bunch of fish festivals, and I was saying, like, yeah, they just did theirs, but they were so self-contained, but even they stopped doing them because it just doesn't, I think, yeah, a lot of factors, but yeah, we're definitely seeing a shift there. Well, on that down note, let's bring it back to the positivity from Scamp, because I don't want to stay in that space. But was there a standout moment or experience that you would say like really defined the festival for each of you, that you're like, yeah, when I think back, this is the one that jumps out that really encompasses, how it felt during and after? What about you, Hannah?
Okay, so on Sunday night, I knew that it was going to be late for me because Circles Around the Sun was one of the top bands I wanted to see. So I actually took some naps during some of the metal stuff. If you know me, you know that's the only genre I'm not a huge fan of. And so then I thought, oh, I'll go to bed after Circles. I did not. And a lot of little side things happened. But one thing that was really funny is I went to VIP and ended up into the VIP party. They do like a big drinking, whatever, get down on Sunday night, but it wasn't really my vibe. I saw some people I knew, talked to them, and I start walking back. Now, Chelsea will attest to the fact that I have no sense of direction.
She could not find her way back to camp. She'd be like, I'm going to go to trash camp and walk the opposite way. And I was like, Hannah.
So
the other way.
one of the side stories that happened is so this bigger kid is next to me, and he's like a real faded Grateful Dead shirt on. He looks real cool. He's walking next to me, but like he's trying to keep his distance. And he's like, hey man, like I'm not trying to be weird and walk in step with you. We're just kind of going the same pace. And I was like, no, that's so cool. His name was Teddy. Okay. And I was like, I doubt you know him. He's an Humphreys person, but either Humphreys or Mo, but I think Humphreys. Anyway, so I'm like, yeah, can you help me with something? Actually, I'm like, I'm not a VIP gal. I was trying to fake it, but I'm not. And I'm trying to get back to GA. Am I going the right way? And he was like, yeah, I feel that. He was like, you're going the right way. He was like, me either. He was like, he's friends with some of the people in Humphreys. And so he got put on the guest list and VIP, the whole shebang at the last minute. And so he was trying to get to GA too.
Sweet.
And so just the sweetest kid. And I was like, oh, like, so do you like Goose? Because I could tell by his aesthetic, like he probably gets down with some Goose. He's like, yeah, like they're pretty cool. I just started getting into them. He was like, actually, I have something for you. Because I was telling him about the podcast and everything. There's this like coffee shop or bar he hangs out back at home where he's from. And someone had put out these business cards that said, spruce up your goose, and had a little goose on them. I don't know what they're trying to promote. I guess they probably I don't know if they fit, like are interior designers, or if they like help you with like your resume. But anyway, he was like, here, have a couple. And he gave me these business cards.
I love it.
And then we parted ways soon after that, but it was just so wholesome
and never to be seen again. Just like this momentary interaction. I love that.
I forget if I gave him a Goose Chicks podcast sticker because I was running low. It was the end of the festival. This is like Monday morning at like 6 or 7 a.m. at this point. But it was just such a wholesome way to end the entire festival. And it was just really cute. And I hope that if he ever listens to this, he contacts me, because he was just a really cool dude.
Oh,
that's awesome.
He helped me get back home.
Wait, he carries other people's business cards.
What is the spruce up the goose? Like, I go to those ceramic geese you have sitting outside your front door.
I have one.
I have one too, and it's wearing tie-dye. but that's
Mine,
what I
mine's
pictured.
dressed
Oh,
as a
that's
mine's dressed
awesome.
as a bee right now for June, but her name is
Oh.
Gertie. She has a very extensive closet. But it is a Midwest thing, and my mother-in-law got it for me. And Drew's from Chicago, so she was when we got our first house, she was like, "I'm sending you a goose," and it was like this huge thing that like arrived, and we had to like ship the box back to the manufacturer. But yeah,
Oh,
Gertie's out
snap.
front, always guarding things, and yes, we love our goose.
I love it.
Before I fell in love with goose, I had Gertie, but yeah.
You
What
knew
about
the
you?
goose was coming.
I knew somebody knew
Yeah.
that I was gonna need it for something. I actually should get like a goose shirt for Gertie. I'm gonna think about that. Chelsea, what about
Yeah.
you? Was there a moment that was really special for you?
For me, so I spent a lot of the time like alone or wandering, I guess, kind of. But I was with Hannah a lot too, but just meeting up with people here and there. But a lot of the time I was just kind of like walking around, and just seeing what was going on. And at one point, it was Friday. I walked into the Soul Shine tent and they were doing like a drum circle type thing.
Mm.
And so it was just people that had brought their instruments and all sat down and started playing. And I just kind of stumbled upon it and I stopped to watch. And then I watched for like a little bit and I started recording it, but then I just got this like super overwhelming feeling. You can see in my video at the end, I like start shaking. It's like really weird. And so I stopped and I just like got this really weird, overwhelming feeling just of like love and joy and just connection between people, and watching people make music together was really beautiful. And I don't know why it really like hit me emotionally. I just like started crying. I walked away. Like I just like walked away through the field and I was like, I don't know why I'm crying right now, like this is so weird. But it just was a really strong feeling for some reason that I reacted to that moment, just as an outsider, like watching this happen.
Yeah.
And I actually walked over to the like Groove Safe tent where Ashley was because it was right across the way. And I was just like, I don't know why I'm crying, like to her. And she's like, what happened?
Oh,
Nothing. I just saw this drum circle. Like it was a really wild experience. But that's just what I kind of
I feel like
overall
with those
takes, you know, the feeling overall of like
Yeah.
a festival of that connection.
That's
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And that's what, you saying with the connection. And I think that's the beautiful part about music festivals. And even though the hot, sticky, if you're not into camping, the relationships and the connections that you walk away from or that you walk away with are so beautiful. And it's so hard to explain to people outside of, the music world and or the scene that we're in. And, it's just so hard for other people to understand. But for us, we know it's that love, that the safe place, and one place that's also hard. And so I'm sure I would walk away crying too, Chelsea. And you're very connected, your body and mind are very connected. I'm very, very much want to be like you and get that same, have that same connection. And so I'm sure that you just felt that beautiful connection that was there with all these people. I mean, how could you not, especially with as connected as you are, just feeling the connections and the vibes from everyone else and the beautiful, just that peaceful, that at peace moment where you're not worried about everything that's going on, all the dark, negative stuff that's going on in the world. And you have a moment just to sit there and relax and see the happy smiles and see the happiness. And I'm sure, knowing you, that you were just in that and you were feeling it. And so it's just beautiful to see that, and you don't see it every day. And so those are things that I look forward to going to these concerts. And I'm sure that that's probably what you felt. And then you've had a lot going on also. So just all the things going on, and then the beauty surrounding it. And with that, and drum circles, for some reason, they're
They
beautiful.
do.
I think with drum circles, like everyone ends up in flow state which we talked about with Leah and Tara Lee when they were on the show. And I think that sometimes like you get pushed into flow state a little too fast if you're like if you're just observing it, and it can be for me overwhelming like emotionally because of that, because like they got there like together, you know, they build up and they're in this circle, but then when you are witnessing it, you just get like sucked into it super fast with like no ramp. It's just like right into flow state just like that, and it could be a little emotionally jarring. I've had that experience too with like choirs, especially like impromptu choirs that people will do, where I'm like, oh my god, all of a sudden like they'll hit like a beautiful like harmony and I'm like, oh my god, I start freaking out and definitely will get teary-eyed. So I'm glad you had that experience, and I love how in touch you are with your emotions and that you're not, you know, afraid, ashamed of them, and that, you know, you just give me so much bravery myself to do the same. So I appreciate that.
Aww. Yeah, no, it was
Your
really cool
soul's
moment.
just so beautiful, Chelsea. I don't if you haven't been told I love you and how beautiful that you are today or this week. Oh, you're so amazing. You're so beautiful. And the love that what's the word that just flows out of you, just exudes. It's
okay, y'all. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I just love you've just given me so much inspiration.
It's true. Same here. Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some of the performances. Like what were the memorable ones that you witnessed and like what made them so special? Let's start with you, Hannah.
So I'll talk more about this for one of the other questions later on, but Wolfpack was amazing. Probably my favorite of the entire weekend. Circles Around the Sun, amazing. Have been wanting to see them for a really long time and never have. Mr. Please was pretty cool because we were not expecting to get to their performance on time, since getting in logistically was a bit of a challenge, and we did. Willie Nelson, that was really awesome just because, you know, how
It's
much longer
Willie. I mean, come on. Yeah, you know.
Willie Nelson. And actually it was so crowded, people were getting annoyed, and some of my friends that I originally was with, they left, and I was like, yeah, we have a shitty spot, like I'm gonna leave. But then I saw more friends who were closer, and it was a much better vibe and situation, so I stayed longer for Willie. And then obviously Goose was amazing. So those are my highlights band wise.
Love it. How about you, Chelsea? I know you're a big Wolfpack fan generally, but what else was highlights for you?
I was excited to see Wolfpack, and that was definitely my top 3, I would say. That was a really fun show. But the Mo and Humphrey set is really my overall best experience set of the festival, I'd say. And I've never seen either of those bands. I don't even know like any of their music. But the two together, I did watch each of them also separate throughout the weekend, but the two together was very special. And I had a lot of fun dancing, and I was by myself for that set. I somehow ended up with the trash crew. I don't know. I was by myself, but then when I turned around, like when they took a little break, I turned around and I was like, I'm with the trash crew. How did this happen? Okay. They were just there.
What's really funny about that is I forget when it was, but there was at one point where I think it was night 1 too, Thursday, when Chelsea's used to doing her own thing. Like,
oh yeah,
festival is very different.
I know what you're talking about.
Like
shows. I mean, Chelsea will just be like out there. We're like, we'll see you at set break in the bathroom or whatever.
Yeah, like I very much need a buddy because I'm scared of getting lost. And also, like, I just like enjoying moments of music with other people. Like, that's just how I enjoy in music. And so quickly I realized that Chelsea was going to go off and do her own thing. And so I started staying at trash camp more. But on that one night, she wanted to like go over to another area, and
it was too dusty. And I was like, I'm just gonna go stand in the grass. Like
that. And I'm like, oh yeah, like that's a good idea. I'm gonna go with you. And then all the guys from trash camp or trash crew go with us. And she's like, oh, but like she was very confused as to why my friends were following her. And I was like, you guys don't have to follow us. And I was like, no, I didn't ask them to. Like,
they just thought it was a good idea too.
Like that's just how they be. Like they're just like, they roll deep. They like to have a big crew around them. I think for them it helps provide more space because we can sort of spread out, and then they have more room to dance while still getting somewhat close.
Yeah.
But it was just so funny to see Chelsea, like, she didn't know what to do.
What?
She was
I was like, I'm not used to people following me.
Don't
Like
follow
that.
me.
I was
Oh,
like, that is
that's-
not what I expected. But no, it was fun.
The
'cause-
unexpected shaman in Chelsea just came popping out at summer camp. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I can just see it now, like, because Chelsea is very, she is, she's comfortable with being by herself, and she's happy. She knows how to make herself happy, and and so I can just see now, Chelsea, like that many people rolling deep and just being like, what are y'all doing? Like, back up, give me my privacy right now.
I was just like
please."
confused because that doesn't happen typically to me. So I was just like,
I wasn't.
but then we did a like group huddle about how great of a night we're gonna have, and like had a little camaraderie, and it was fun. Like I like all the dudes in the trash crew. Shout out to them.
Yeah, like,
But I like to
Kind
like
of a
have
cult vibe though, Chelsea. You're like slowly just like, just come around me and I'll let you know. Let's talk about it. I like it. I like it.
and also, I also want to shout out that night and those boys because Chelsea wasn't back at camp yet, and I was worried about walking back and being alone for a while. And like multiple guys, like separately, were like Micah was like, "Oh, I'll walk you back," and then Johnny later was like, "I'll walk you back." Like they will protect you. They will make sure you're comfortable, and like they're just really good people to be at festivals with because trash takes care of trash, man.
Yeah, no, they're all good. They're all good dudes. So that was fun. To end up with them at the Mo and Humphrey set somehow. We were just meant to be together. I don't know. And also another one I want to mention was the Perpetual Groove. I had never heard them before, and I stumbled upon them actually in the VIP tent. Ashley had like a friend that was going to sit in. She's like, let's go over there. It was really random how I ended up there. But then I stayed. She was like, okay, I'm gonna go back, and I was like, no, I'm vibing. I'll stay here and watch the rest of it. So that was really good. And then of course Mr. Please and Goose were highlights as well. But that Mo and Humphrey set, y'all,
that was
good.
special, huh? Love it, love it, love it.
Awesome.
So were there any new artists or bands that you hadn't heard of before the festival that stood out to you, and like what made them pop out? Obviously Perpetual Groove was one for you, Chelsea. What is their music like?
It's like jammy and vibey. I was dancing a lot. I actually turned around and that's where I saw someone wearing a houseplant shirt, and I was like,
Oh, nice.
gonna go up to them, and it was Zach and Marin, so they hung out there a lot. So that was fun to see them. So that was new to me. Also Frameworks, which is an electronic like DJ, I was very into, and I just stumbled upon that set on my way back to camp actually one night, and because I had to walk through that to get to our camp, that stage basically. And yeah, I've been listening to that album nonstop now. There was actually another moment I cried. I don't know if we got to talk about all the moments I cried, but at that Framework
I'll have to like
set.
ring a bell or something. Hold on, wait.
Oh my gosh.
This is the Chelsea cried.
This is the like if I were there, you might have. I usually cry a lot, and so me and you can cry beside the happy
I was just
moments.
in my
They're happy
feels,
tears.
but it was like good. It was like a happy thing because so for this particular one, there was I stumbled upon and I stopped to listen because the music was great. And there was a woman standing there, and she had like this flowy fabric that was blue and white. I don't really know how to explain it, but she was just like flowy dancing with it. And I just like was watching her do this, and it was really beautiful. And for some reason, again, I got really like overwhelmed, and I started crying a little bit. And you guys, like afterwards, I realized like she was just also walking through, I think, waiting for her partner to get out of the porta potty. Like she was not. And I walked up to her and I was like, well, you made me cry. I wanted to give you a sticker, like, because I had some Goose ones with me. She's like, oh, I love Goose. Shout out to Gabby because we like talked. She's like, oh, I love Goose. Like they weren't really there for that set either. And she's like, are you a mom? And I'm like, well, no. She's like, I was thinking about my daughter as I was doing that. And I just think it was both. We were both kind of thinking of love and like connected in some way,
and family.
it was really yeah. So I love
sweet.
that. But anyways, Frameworks is the shit. Look into Frameworks. And then one other I wanted to mention was Mastodon.
Oh yeah,
So good. So this
they're
is
metal,
metal.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's metal. So it was really heavy, but I like metal. I have a really eclectic taste in music, and their their lights were tight.
Their lights were
Uh,
tight. Were they
well,
wearing?
they did have
It'd
tights.
be
They had
interesting too. Yeah.
tight lights.
Those tights were
Uh,
light.
Tight lights.
but
Tight lights. It's
they
like
were they were
Tight
really
lights.
cool to watch from the back. So Mastodon was definitely
Yeah,
another.
like we were joking, like Getty needs to take note of the metal scene's light situation.
It was extreme.
lighting is very important in metal, though. Like,
Yeah. It's
some
just
Yeah.
things
different
are a little
too,
harder.
right?
I know King Gizzard has like really amazing lights too. Same reason. Like it just
I was
goes
going
well.
to say, wait. Getty is perfect. But
Yeah,
those,
it's just a different genre, so like the lighting is just different. So
Right,
it's not what
yeah.
I'm used to, because I literally don't go to metal shows. So that's why I was joking. It was
Yeah.
all
oh
like,
no, I know you were. Like that's a with
if
the
you
metal.
to know me to know is that I love Getty. And in fact, one of my favorite moments at Scamp was when I ran into someone who had a Getty shirt on. But that has a very intricate, theme throughout Scamp that would it's an episode in and of itself.
Oh, we
Oh
need
my
to do
gosh,
an
yeah,
episode about
that's
that. I love it.
awesome. You know,
What
I was
was
just
your-
joking about that though, Hannah. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
you love him.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Hannah? What was the new artists or bands that you hadn't heard of before that you're like, damn,
Okay,
I'm so glad I
no
got
one's
to see
allowed to
them.
judge me for this, but I had never heard of or listened to Wolfpack before this.
Mm.
So they were by far the standout for me. I mean, honestly, just because it's so different, and I guess they don't really tour a lot, my friends are saying.
Yeah.
And so for that reason alone, I feel like that was the number one set for me, just because I have been to so many Goose shows, and Goose does go on tour all the time. And so yeah, that was definitely the highlight of my weekend, especially in terms of music.
Love it. So turning from music to like other aspects of the festival, like what made it unique, enjoyable for you? What were the things that you're like, oh, this was really cool that they did, or I didn't expect this? We'll start with you, Chelsea.
For me, honestly, hanging out at the Groove Safe tent with Ashley on Nonprofit Row was a lot of fun. Just a place to like sit in the shade, drink some water, chat with someone if I want to, and to get to know Ashley better. Her and I became better friends this weekend, so that was really a nice additional aspect to the whole festival experience. And like she was saying, like she had places to sit and she wants people to just be able to hang out there. So like for that reason, take a break, sit in the shade, chill.
Awesome.
So that was cool. And then, I have to add that Hannah and I were allowed in the pit for Goose, and we tried to stay out of the real photographer's way. But it was cool to have that experience with her and get to do that for the first few songs. That was cool.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, listen, we're out here covering fest. Sometimes we'll be in the pit for that reason. I will say that folks should definitely check out our Instagram. Chelsea did a great conversation with Ashley live from the tent. It's on our Instagram feed, Goose Chicks Pod. So definitely go and check that out because it was really good convo. I loved it. And thanks for doing that. I know it was like, y'all, the Wi-Fi was sus AF. And so I'm shocked you even got the live up. I was very impressed. But thank y'all for doing that. That's really great.
They were trying for a while because I was with them, and then I went to go interview some other folks who were on Nonprofit Row. And when I came back, they had finally gotten into work and they had just finished. So they were at it for a little while, which segues into a couple things that stood out to me. So Nonprofit Row was really awesome. And that's sort of a sneak preview of some of the interviews I did that will eventually be airing on Into the Fest. And then, and I echo everything Chelsea said. Ashley's awesome. We already knew that, but it was just cool getting to know her better and, having that space. That's where we did the interview with Mr. Please. You know what I mean? Like that was really cool. But she opens you up like it's her home, but then also it was really cool because I thought there was going to be hoop workshops and they did not have them this year. But then I saw this guy and it looked like he was giving tutorials like while listening to music. And I started talking to him afterwards, and he's done workshops at pretty much every summer camp or like a bunch of them for years in a row.
Oh, wow.
And he didn't this year. He and his partner that he does festivals with, they weren't invited to do that. So they were just out there giving tutorials if people asked, and they're really cool. They did have some stuff, like there was a beekeeper. And he my friend on Thursday night accidentally drank 12% margarita mixed drinks that were in cans that she thought were the same as White Claws. So she thought they were 5%. No. So she was kind of drunk a little bit. And the beekeeper, he had like helped like bring her back. And he was like, let's try some honey. And so we got to try honey. Shout out to that guy. That guy's cool. Yeah. And he taught us really cool stuff. It was like 2 a.m. probably. And he's like teaching us cool stuff about bees and honey. And then Frick Frack. Do y'all know anything about Frick Frack?
I don't.
Okay. I've heard about it, but I don't like explain it.
Let me tell you about Frick Frack. And if we want to do it, if you ever want to have Frick Frack people on, I know some Frick Frack people now. But basically it's gambling. It's like 21, but you gamble in wookery. So like my girl Miranda, who she'd been at a lot of festivals. She's actually working a coffee tent at Bonnaroo right now, but she loves Frick Frack. So she brought her bone collection, so that she could bet with her bones. And then our friend Allie, which Allie was just on Adam Berta's stuff. If you see a guy drinking a water bottle that says piss on it, that's Allie. So Allie, he has a really great mustache. Like it's like really thick and really like handlebarry and all that. And he betted that he would shave his mustache if he lost. He won. He did not shave his mustache.
These are serious bets. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Then
he won.
My anxiety is raising. I don't like it. Oh my gosh.
He won a creepy baby doll head though. That's what he
won. Then I run to the trash crew again randomly in the middle of the forest. They had just come from Frick Frack, and Allie's like, I bet my mustache, but I kept it. And with this little 3-headed baby doll head that he won. And I'm just like, what is going on?
So I won't bring this up on air, but I actually do know why the baby has 3 heads, if anyone wants to know why.
I don't think I want to know.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
It's how they made baby dolls back then. It's nothing weird. Like
got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, anyway,
we're all like, we don't know.
No.
But Steven says they're going to be doing Frick Frack at Halloween. So yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
And I think it's like the same group of people. So yeah.
I love it. Chelsea, were there Hannah segued into some stuff that she did that was not music related, and were there things you participated in as well?
Not really. Just like looking at lights and stuff like that. But there was this installation called the Sacred Lotus, they called it. And it basically was different lotus petals, and you were supposed to write a message on it for like the thank you to summer camp sort of thing. And so I got to write a personal little message on there.
Oh, is that the one is that what you shared? I saw you had written on something. I was like, I wonder what that was. You're always sharing great sayings and quotes and stuff. So I didn't know if that was like a card you pulled or so that was your message. Oh, I love it. That's on our stories, y'all. You can check it out there.
Yeah, so I got to just write a little message that I don't know what that lotus is going to turn into, but it's going to be somewhere forever. So
and you'll have the Chelsea stamp.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Well, let's talk about if there were any challenges or drawbacks that you kind of like faced during the festival. How'd you cope with them? I'm going to start with you, Chelsea, because you actually did have a huge thing happen there. And I think it'll be really helpful for our audience to just hear like how you worked through that in the moment. I want to just point back to Alexia's early commentary about the kind of person Chelsea is. We call her Empress for a really good reason. So I'll turn it over to you now, Chelsea. Go ahead.
So at the festival on Saturday morning, I got some pretty bad news about my grandpa. My mom called me and just it wasn't going to be good. So I basically was like, do I leave or do I stay here? Like, this is a really big thing I'm hearing. So honestly, at first, like I was in festy mode. I don't think people talk about this enough, but I was like literally, I even told Hannah, I was like, I literally can't even think about this or do anything until I take a shower and eat. Like I am 2 days in, like I
You're like,
need
I need
my
some
basic
bare
needs met.
basic needs met. Yeah, yeah.
For real. Didn't end up getting a shower, but I bathed in the water hole, which I think was better. And then I ate some food and, I just decided to stay. And my family was really just like, whatever you want to do, we just wanted you to know, and really supportive. And I just, like I said to Hannah when we were talking about it, I was like, I just feel that I always say, music heals. And I believe that. And so I felt like I really need some healing. And so I was literally surrounded by live music. And so what better place to be healing than there, I guess. So I decided to stay and yeah, that was it was really hard, but I think there was also this calmness that I felt. And I said that to Hannah too when we were talking. I was just like, I don't know. I don't know why I feel so calm right now. Um, but thinking back, I think it was more about the balance that I had there because there was obviously like times that I was grieving and feeling pain and lonely. But there was also times that I was just filled with love and joy and feeling connection. And so there was just really a balance there that just made me feel calm and like okay. Yeah, so it was really touching and just something that I'm also trying to just remember in like my everyday life is like
Mhm.
you have to have both
Yeah.
feeling, you have to have pain to have joy and that sort of thing. And
Mhm.
it's really just about balancing that. So
I think festivals are so much about that generally, where it's like, where what you need is there. And, you can get drawn to different things for different reasons and what that looks like. And not being married to necessarily having to do specific things, but this is something, Chelsea, you embody so much as like really letting what you need in the moment drive you and push you to what you're going to do. And festivals are like pretty much that's the whole setup. That's the whole construct of a music festival. It's like that energy of like, stumbling across things or switching at the last moment because you met a friend and they wanted to go see a different band or all of the things, stumbling across things and trying things you hadn't tried before, seeing things you hadn't seen before. So I imagine that it was a unique space to have all of that at your disposal, to do whatever you needed to do at any moment, whether it was sitting by yourself or taking a long walk or getting in the water hole or going to see a metal band, like all the whole range of emotions were at your fingertips. So,
yeah. And that was the same night as Mo and Humphreys played. So maybe that was why it was so special because I was going through a lot, but I also was feeling so much joy and had so much fun at that show in that moment. And so yeah, it was just it was a lot, but I think I was just meant to be there for that. And also I was telling my grandpa about it and that I was like the week before and that I was going to be going and like all the stuff I get to do for the podcast and he was so excited, like telling me how great that is for me. He's so happy for me that I get to do things like that. So I just was also thinking about that too. So music does have healing powers. It really does. It really does.
It does. That's what when we were texting when you told us about that and and I was wondering because I would be at the same way like do I stay? Do I go? Do I stay? Do I go? And when you said, my grandfather was very excited for me and when you decided to stay, I was just like, I'm so proud of you for making that's a very hard decision because with other people, the judgment might come in like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you didn't come home immediately. But, there's nothing that you could do in the moment. And at that point, you needed to grieve yourself. And what a better place, well, for us, what a better place to be than around smiling faces, healing music and just like what Leslie said, just being able to go take a walk, being able to go to the watering hole, being able to do what you needed to do to get through that, and to be able to be in such a positive vibe. And, you know, for anyone, it just changes everything. And that's just kind of a testimony to how wonderful, you know, the Jamily is and the music festivals are, that they can, you know, that all that stress, and even with your grandfather passing away, that everyone was there for you, the music was there for you, you were. And it's just, it's a beautiful, music is very healing. And I'm very sorry that you had to go through that. And I'm very proud of you too, for doing what was right for you and not for what other people thought. And then I would just hear your messages or see your messages through the weekend. And I truly felt like just seeing your messages, that really helped at that moment, you know, instead of being at home and crying in bed, you know, that yes, you were crying, and, you know, but you were also there enjoying and having healing moments so I don't know. Sorry, I can go off on this forever, but I'm just very.
Oh, I love it. And also just, you know, of course, sending you and your entire family our condolences for this loss. I know, you know, losing our elders is really tough. And yeah, so just thinking about you and holding you and your family in our thoughts and prayers. Hannah, were there any challenges that you faced besides the directional issues?
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing, you know, for me is like, grief is still really raw for me, just because I'm still not fully processed with my mom passing away. And so I feel like 2 years ago, I wouldn't probably have gotten as emotional as I did with Chelsea, but it definitely put me in my feelings. And then I also want to shout out Chelsea's Quad City friends. You know, I felt pretty confident that I would get back to my car if she left. And I also felt confident that my trash crew friends would help me figure something out. Because that, you know, there was a good period of time where, I don't know, maybe 24 hours or something like that, where like, you know, there were some logistical things to figure out. And I think that's one of the things that is so beautiful about going to festivals and having like authentic people there, is like, you know, that people are going to help each other out. You know, if you know, I don't know, whatever. You've said a lot about that, and I don't want to get too cheesy, but you know, that was a cool experience for me to like see that. And yeah, but it was very emotional. And anyway, but I guess as far as like other things, like just gonna completely change the subject.
Yeah, we can move into like organization and scheduling. But one, I do
Yeah.
wanted to say, like, I'm so glad you guys were there together. Also, I just, you know,
Yeah.
just wanted to put that out there. I think one of the things that's been such a blessing having this show is all of us in various configurations going to shows together. And I've just really enjoyed it. It's built our bond so much, and it doesn't actually matter which two of us or three of us or four of us are going to shows. We just are able to really connect with each other on such a deep level, like super quickly. It feels like we just saw each other, even though it might have been months. And so I'm glad you guys were there together, and excited for what's to come for all four of us in
For sure.
various configurations coming up. So yeah, let's switch gears. Last couple of questions before we close out. And yeah, were there any organizational things, scheduling, things like that you wanted to mention? Because I know I'm always overwhelmed by festivals
Yes.
generally.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, so that was one logistical thing for me, is like how overwhelming it was with so many stages. And I know a lot of people view that as a good problem to have, but for me, I'm really looking forward to Resonance, where, you know, there's not as much overlap between the bands, there's fewer stages. And maybe it's because I'm getting older, right? Like, I'm in my 30s. I don't necessarily want to go to these huge festivals. Like a gal I work with at the restaurant, she's going to Bonnaroo. She's like 21 or 22, and she's pumped. It's like her second or third time going. Maybe I'd go to Bonnaroo. That's one of the only big festivals I can honestly say that about. But like, I'd rather just be at Legend Valley with my trash crew homies and my Ohio homies. And, you know, so
It's
that
so
was
much walking at these big festivals.
well,
And I remember we went to
yeah.
Austin City Limits last year, and it was like the one day we walked like 9 miles. Drew and I each did. We had
Yeah.
our little like things, and I was like, I didn't go anywhere, but just traversing the entire thing, and also getting out, you know, because it wasn't a camping festival. Obviously, it's like in the middle of Austin, but yeah, I just a lot of that is just physically difficult too. So
Or and then like Chelsea knows this couple that she's friends with from Quad Cities, and they've gone to pretty much everyone for years now, and they have a whole setup. They have a little what is it, wagon, and they have like, they leave at the end of one set, like as one set's ending, and then they get to the next place a little before the next one starts, and they have this whole system, and that's really cool that they've sort of like, cracked the code. But then some of the sort of like whimsical, changes, Leslie, that you were talking about don't happen. And like I ended up doing stuff and going to shows that I don't necessarily wasn't on my radar or whatever. And like I bonded with people that I knew that I wasn't necessarily super close with, because as a result of the magic that is being spontaneous at a festival. So there was that. And then also we had some logistical issues getting into RV camping, and it was solved pretty quickly. I was actually having work festivals and stuff like that a little bit. I was impressed with how quickly they addressed the situation, but it did take us, I think, just over 3 hours to get in. And we thought we were going to miss Mr. Please, which was like one of the things we said when we applied to get press passes, is that we were going to see this band and we were going to interview them. Yeah. And so we were like, well, shit, that's not happening. And it did. It did. And we got in. And one of the things I thought was really cool is instead of like being defensive and yelling at us, they actually listened to what Chelsea was saying. And they were like, oh, you're right. And then they rectified the situation as a result of that. You don't get that with a lot of crews. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
they're very rigid.
Yeah, people get so bossy so quickly when they're running a festival.
Listen,
they were not
it's
like
power. They have power.
Exactly. They get a little bit of power, and it goes, yeah.
Shout out to whoever that dude was, because he totally was like, oh yeah, I'm on it, and like listen, because it was just a miscommunication, but someone needed to have it pointed out to them, was all. So,
and Chelsea was definitely the one, because there were some other people in line getting sassy, and they were not cool with me. I was not happy with people getting sassy at the employees. I'm like, these kids are just trying to do the best they can.
I was gonna say they're literally just volunteering for tickets to this thing.
Yeah.
Like, cut it out. You know what I'm saying? Take it easy.
It was some passive aggressive shit too. Like I was like, dang.
That's also the amazing thing about Chelsea. And I mean, she's the empress. She's got all the knowledge, and she's so sweet and so chill. And then but she can also sweetly and just
assertively. You were assertive.
Exactly.
No, but that's the thing. Chelsea's assertiveness is like very calming. Also, your voice is very calming too, Chelsea. So like because your voice is so calming, like when you start to talk, like I don't know about everybody else, but I just like hone in. I'm like, what is she saying? It's clearly super important because of how you're saying whatever you're saying. And I think it just cuts through a lot of folks like guards they may have up automatically, because it just disarms them in the moment. And so he was like, oh yeah, like let me listen to this person. It actually got through. It wasn't all of the stuff that normally gets in the
and I don't get read that way, so I cannot be the one, because I will try my hardest to invoke my inner Chelsea, and I'm not even trying to piss people off or be aggressive, and I'll say the exact same thing, but it's just how I come across to people. I knew I could not be the one.
I think that people are being like our red hair people just automatically, oh, you've got a fiery temper, you've got a,
which we do, to be fair. I mean,
but I'm not going to come rolling out with it. And I guess that maybe me and Hannah just have like tones in our voice or something. I don't know what it is, but it's just like, so
I think it's just people relate to each person differently. I just think Chelsea, this is a unique gift that she has.
It is very Chelsea. Yeah. You're very chill. You're all the way around, and that's why you're our empress. And it's so funny because I was literally telling a friend this morning about how much I love Midwesterners and just how chill that you are. And I was like, and I said, think about it. I was like, when you see stuff on the news, do you see the Midwest being brought up for negative things? No. I was like, barely ever. I was like, so we're not counting Chicago and this and that. I was like, but the rest of it, I was like, they're all so chill. And I was like, and she's like, yeah. I never thought about that, but yeah, you're right. So I was also talking about Chris Adams and just like
rolling off. They just don't worry about shit. It's like not a lot of stress on
exactly.
People. I think it's just a vibe. When I lived in Chicago was like that. Was just like, oh, Y'all are different, but also sometimes it's like you have to
Yeah.
you have to translate what the hell they're saying, because I'm like, what did you mean though? Because I don't think you said what you meant. But Chelsea's not like that, which is great. Chelsea, did you have any things organizationally or scheduling that you wanted to mention that we didn't touch on already that you were like, eh?
No, I would just say probably the same thing as Hannah. It just felt too big. Like I couldn't see everything I wanted to see. And, you know, you have to fit in time. Even if you plan it all out, you have to fit in time to like rest and eat and bathe and whatever. So,
And you were
you
going to
know,
like all these late night shows, you were telling me, until like 4 a.m. and I was like,
I
what are
don't know how this
you were
happened.
at shows till 4 a.m?
Oh, we had
Okay,
company.
I want the record to be stated that although me and my friends have the reputation of being the late night crowd, Chelsea actually stayed up late every night and I did not.
Oh, that no, really?
Yes,
I
Are
was
you
in
sure
a
you were
vibe. I
editing
don't know.
that?
at least four every night. And I went to bed early Saturday because I thought that we were
I
going to
did
get up
go to
early.
bed
Sunday.
early
You
Saturday.
did? Okay.
Yeah.
But I think I went to bed really early on Saturday because I was like, the last thing I want to do is not wake up early enough to go back with Chelsea to get my car so that she can be with her grandfather. Like it was like I was very concerned because I'm not a morning person. So I went to bed at like 11 p.m. or midnight or something like that.
That just doesn't even sound like you.
It sure doesn't. It was like a role reversal. That's so
I
funny
know,
to me.
right? I do want to
Okay.
ask, since we're on logistics, and this is a big thing for me, and how are the porta potties? How are the showers? You know, how is that logistically? And you know, were they cleaned like like for example, while we were at Fred Fest, those suckers were clean at least every 4 to 6 hours. So I've never had a festival that was that clean, and it was so scorching hot then, but the toilets were very clean, but the showers were just, I mean, I would have rather taken a shower at prison than I would have at that one. So, you know, if that tells you anything about, or I mean, what I would imagine and stuff, you know, but yeah, so how are the showers? How are the porta potties? And were the porta potties accessible, like in a, not that you're having to walk a mile from your like tent section? Did they have them put up, you know, in areas that were accessible? And you know what I'm trying to say. Were those okay, or were they like a mile away in the middle of the night that you had to walk to? And how is that set up?
Well, Hannah got the made sure that she had toilet paper on her at all times, and literally had the roll through her fanny pack thing just on. Just taking with her.
This is my first rodeo.
I was like,
Those
dude,
pictures. I need to see that picture.
Yes.
I love it.
But that's a great
So,
idea
toilet,
too.
yeah, it
How
really
many
is.
times do you?
The
Yeah.
toilet paper was hit or miss. Like
Yeah.
there was, it was mostly out, but they did try to keep it stocked and cleaned. I mean, clean wise, they did pretty well. I thought they were doing a good job keeping up with it. It was just there was a lot of people there, so no toilet paper a lot of the time. But
Smart
besides
idea,
that,
Hannah. Travels with toilet paper.
I
great
do.
idea.
I do. And I would say, so the secret is like, okay, if this is like part of the camping area, me and Chelsea were over here. There was like some stages and vending, and we were toward the end over here. And then trash camp was over here on this opposite end. So as you're walking, there's some porta potty rows here. And then there's probably at least 2 more sets on the walk to trash camp. And then trash camp was at the opposite end, and we were next to the porta potties on the that end. And so it was like the last row porta potties on either side. They were always good because not as high traffic area. You know, they weren't super close to any of the stages. So if you want to have like a little quiet time to yourself, you need to poop or something like that. That's what I would recommend, is going to a porta potty row that's away from the main drag.
That's true.
I will say I noticed that people were not using the handicap stall if they didn't have to, which I thought was really cool. And in terms of accessibility, I actually did use it. This is a pod chat for women by women. I started my period early. And I have really bad periods, so I needed to use it because logistically I just could not use a regular porta potty at that point. I had a cup in, so it
Yeah.
just was a lot. Or no, actually I didn't, but it was still a lot, whatever. And
Right.
so anyways, so I thought that was really cool. The showers, we heard there was a 2-hour line, or Chelsea actually
I
tried.
tried to go
2
take a shower.
hours.
Dude,
Wow.
there were so many people in line and they each get like 15-minute shower or whatever. And I did the math and I was like, no, I'm not about this.
I don't
So,
shower
and-
at festivals.
so I bathed in the water. I have to say, I preferred it. I was like, this is great. Cold water, just out in the open, put on my bikini and just
Right. Yeah.
washed.
That's
And
awesome.
I did it twice because it felt really good.
And I bet so. And also, people, as you're listening, so what I do, also, just in case, because you never know how it's going to be. Last year it might have been wonderful. This year it might be completely different. They might have new people that they're renting from. But I always like to take a little plastic bowl and a washcloth and a bar of soap. So that way, if you don't have it, or you're just sweating profusely and you just like want a PTA bath or whatever, that way you can just, rinse up. You don't feel like you're just smelling rank. And so that's something that I do to quickly, because a lot of the festivals we show up at, it's either that way, like a 2-hour wait, or it's the worst shower ever. And so that's a little tidbit of a tip. So
But y'all, I'm gonna be honest though, I highly enjoyed showering that way. Like I want to just shower outside and like cold water all
yeah.
summer. Like I was into it. I'm like,
I
this
love
feels
that
good.
Scamp turned
I love
Chelsea
it.
into an exhibitionist.
It's just like,
oh,
hey,
outdoor
it felt
showers
good,
are
man.
the best. And yeah, there
Yeah,
was at the
it
little
was actually
waterfall
nice.
that we
Yeah.
have, there was like a bar of soap one day out there when I was younger, and I was like, why is there a bar of soap out there? And I asked my dad, and he's like, oh, well, one of the neighbors comes down. He said that he prefers showering that way in the summer. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so yeah, I love a good outside shower.
For sure. All right, our final question before we wrap things up. Reflecting on your time at Scamp, what were the main highlights and takeaways that will really stay with you or have already stayed with you after the event's over? What are you going to be, a year from now, like still sticking in your brain? Chelsea, I'll start with you.
For me, I think obviously music truly does heal. Was just it's really healing time for me, and I've known that, but just kind of see it like really in action for me was really special. So that was cool. Also just the beauty in people being their authentic selves. Like you see some wild stuff, people, stuff that you don't see every day, but it's all okay, and no one like thinks anything less of people, or at least it doesn't feel like it. And so I thought that was just really cool to walk around and see so many people just being their authentic selves. And also for me, just kind of how to balance how I want to experience things versus being with other people. Because I did have a lot of friends at the festival. I had Hannah and her friends too that I was trying to connect with, and Ashley. And like I made a lot of connections. I talked to a lot of people, saw a lot of people. But I also spent a lot of time alone and doing my own thing. And so I think just making sure I'm doing that all the time and balancing that is something that I want to make sure I'm doing every day in my life too. So
I love it. How about you,
People
Hannah?
take notes.
Pro tip, if you do have a lot of different little groups that you're trying to meet up with or whatever, especially if you know that service is going to be an issue like it was at Scamp, walkie-talkies are really cool. Yeah, we had a lot of fun on those, but it really did help us because there were times where people's phones were dead or you didn't have service, and we'd just be able to figure out like, well, what stage are people out or whatever, so that's kind of a pro tip. And they're not like, you can get a 4-pack for like, I don't know, like $50, not even. So, and then you split it 4 ways. So that's definitely. But I think I view my big takeaways years from now sort of personally and professionally. So me and my friend Rochelle have been talking lately about how, like, when you do a big event in a big group, it's really nice to have like an anchor, and that's sort of like your person that you know really well. In her case, it's literally her person, it's her boyfriend. And for me, right now, you know, I'm single, but it's my best friend. And, you know, I hadn't really been at a festival for fun, mostly for fun. I mean, we worked it, but not, I wasn't doing consent programming or something like that, where it took all my time and energy. So I
Right.
did have time to do a lot of fun stuff and see way more music. And so in that sense, I hadn't been at a festival like that without Tyler in probably over 10 years.
Mm.
And I didn't have my anchor there. And so um that was a challenge, but then it also forced me to get to know people within that friend group who I knew on a more superficial level. I mean, this is a group of people I've never lived in the same city with most of them. So they see me for a few months of the year, and we're always at Billy Strings or Goose or Dopapod or festivals. And so being able to have one-on-one time with some of these guys that I don't know as well, I think we really made really good connections, and I really appreciated that. And I feel like moving forward, I mean, already when I got back to Cincinnati, like these were people I would not necessarily text one-on-one to be like, hey, let's go out and see music or let's hang out. And I found myself doing that after the bonds that we had made at Scamp. So those friendships are really important to me. And then professionally with the press pass and working a festival in that way, it got me thinking about what I want my research to look like, because I do research regularly. And it made me think about some different ways that I want to look at festival culture and show culture from a subcultural community perspective, because I'm a sociologist and I study societies and groups and
Right.
communities. And so it just really inspired me and reinvigorated the love that I have for researching and sociological research. And I know that's really nerdy.
I love that.
But it really got me thinking, okay, I wrote one research proposal that got rejected, and it was for doing research at shows and festivals. And I was feeling really discouraged. And this sort of re-inspired me and made me think about, okay, well, maybe that wasn't a realistic project. And what does a realistic research project look like? And what would be meaningful for my field? So that I think I'll walk away and take away, 10 years from now when I'm writing my book.
I love it. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, so good. Well,
Oh.
thanks, y'all. Thanks for going. Well, thanks for going for us and representing Goose Chick Podcast at Scamp. We're so happy you were able to do it, and thanks everyone for tuning in. We have a goal of trying to go live with the show on Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern, but summer tour is upon us, so that probably won't begin happening regularly until August. I just want to put that disclaimer out there, so don't look for it now. Hannah is going to talk a little bit about one of our new series that we have coming up on the show.
Yeah, so we love festivals, and we're really excited that we are going to be able to do this side project into the fest. Most of us, I believe it's Leslie, me, and Lex are going to be at Resonance Music Festival. We hope to see you all there. Definitely, we're going to be trying to cover it and talk to people about their experiences there, especially because that one really feels like it's a Goose festival. They're playing 2 nights, 2 sets each night. And then can I say levitate? Like,
Yeah, you can say levitate.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So Leslie is going to be working Levitate Festival. We just found out like today or yesterday, so I wanted to make sure that was official. And so we're just going to be, we'll be at festivals. If you see us, please don't be afraid to talk to us and be mic'd up. That was one issue that Chelsea and I ran into. And I will say, I've noticed at Goose shows, Lex really stands out, especially because she was already doing her photography thing. Leslie really stands out. She's usually rail center. So they get
and has
noticed.
that gorgeous hair.
Yeah. And so y'all get noticed at shows, and I think it makes people open up to you and be more willing to go on air or whatever. We struggle to get people said they wanted to talk to us, but then when we actually started getting the microphones out, people were a little scared. And I think there is this dimension of being at a festival, and like for me, if I'm not working a festival, my phone's in airplane mode. I rarely take it out. I want to be in the moment. I don't want to stop and get interviewed. So no negative energy to anyone who backed out or whatever. But if you see Leslie and Lex, and I don't think I'm working any more festivals this season, but hopefully next summer. But if you see them and they ask to do an interview, you know, it'll be just like this. It's just fun.
It's very painless. That's my opening style. I was like, I promise it's really painless. And,
yeah.
And I also say, like, if you don't like it at the end, I'll just delete it while we're standing here. Like, there's no pressure, no problem. So
but it's gonna be awesome. So if you see the podcasters out at festivals this summer, please talk to them and say hi, give us hugs, ask for stickers. We love all Goose fans, and we love all like festival people rock. So we can't wait.
We're excited to cover this. And Resonance is up next. Really excited for that. And it's funny, I was talking with one of the staff members there, and they were like, you know, they really should have been talking about this as a Goose festival. Goose is doing 4 sets. No other act is doing more than 1 set. So this is like, they're the only ones even getting more than a single set.
It's kind of a bird festival because
pigeons in there now. Yes, so it's going to be a good time. I'm really excited. I did get walkie-talkies, Hannah, so I'll be ready.
Oh, well then
I got walkie-talkies.
Yes. All right, we're getting walkie-talkies. We're going there, and also it's a great idea because as much service is going on, you can't.
Yeah, and also you and I will get separated, and I'll just start freaking out. Like, where are you? So
it's perfect for that.
See, I'm not. I'm going into
my anxiety gets high if I don't know where he is.
Y'all partying.
Yeah,
I'm like Chelsea. You'll see us sometime somewhere around there.
We'll be out there. That's right.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
Chelsea, you're going to talk about our other series we just launched last week. It's very exciting.
Yeah, so we have a new series called Gonna Turn It Up Some, which we will be talking with different jam bands about music and festivals, how they approach sets, how they got their start, just a whole bunch of different things. Our first one we did with Houseplant, and you can find that on our YouTube now. It will also come out as a podcast episode next Wednesday, the 21st. And then, as Leslie said earlier, we did talk to Mr. Please at summer camp. They're awesome. So that is going to be an episode that will come out Wednesday, July 5th. And also quick, just thank you to everyone that I did interview at summer camp. And that episode will be out soon too.
Absolutely. Lex, I see you're typing in here. You're up next though.
Yeah.
And we're excited. We have
I was trying to type in.
Yeah, we have some really cool bands that are going to be coming to talk with us. We're very excited about it. Everyone's been so sweet to us, so nice. And so if you are a band and you want to come talk with us, please hit our contact page, or you can email us at goosechicks@osirispod.com. I think that's the right one.
Or hit any one of us up, and we are more than
DM
happy
us. You can even DM us on socials. We're happy to take inquiries that way too. But go ahead, Lex. What were you going to say?
So I want to say that catch our live shows. We're trying to do live at 4:00 on Fridays, and if you can't catch us live, you can always catch us. You can follow the show. You can catch it later, and you can catch us on all socials at Goose Chicks Pod. And for updates and more, just catch us on all socials at Goose Chicks Pod. So, and our webpage at goosechickspod.com.
Yeah, we tried to make it very easy for y'all. It's the same everywhere, even on TikTok, which we've started doing TikTok. So if you're on TikTok, make sure you're following us. We've got some good videos up already. There are going to be more. I answered a funny question yesterday from Jam Band News about what makes a jam band. So check that out. We are also a proud member of the Osiris Media family and are sponsored by the good people over at Ben & Jerry. So we're grateful to them. And we'll let the Empress have the last word today.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Be kind to each other out there, and remember to keep it Ted.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Y'all.
Bye, everyone.